Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by
Animals have the ability to smell scent half a mile away. But what good is an attractant if the animals have to be close to smell it? Introducing an industry-first vapor system. Vapor lasts longer and travels farther. WindScent by Fourth Arrow. Active Vapor for deadly success.
Hey everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson and we've got another brand new show for you this week. Gabe Van Wormer is going to stop in on a couple of different bear hunts. You won't want to miss those, they're pretty exciting. And Jimmy and Jordan have been working on some other great stories for us too this week.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a few more things on this week's show, and hopefully you're going to learn a little bit. We're going to sit down with an air gun specialist, learn a little bit more about what those guns can and cannot do. It's a very interesting piece. You won't want to miss that. Then we're going to sit down with our friends from Garmin and look at some products that may just help you enjoy your time in the woods a little bit more this fall. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows, manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan. G5 offers a line of archery bows, broadheads, and accessories on the web at g5outdoors.com. By KL Outdoor, a Muskegon manufacturer of sportsman's outdoor products for over 30 years, featuring the Terrain line of hard-sided hunting blinds designed for quick setup and removal with quiet operation. For more information and other products, kloutdoor.com.
Michigan-based Vanguard manufactures an array of binoculars, ranging in size and design, and backed by a lifetime warranty. Discover Vanguard sporting optics at vanguardworld.us.
In the next story, I was able to tag along with a guy from Cedar Springs, Michigan, who had a bear tag from Menominee County in the UP.
When I arrived at good friend Dean Hulse's camp near Powers, I found them making apple cider. I've had a lot of good welcomes to hunting camps over the years, but fresh squeezed apple juice ranks right up near the top. Terry Gross was the hunter this bear season and had a little experience hunting this area already.
Back in 2010, I shot a bear in the other side of Escanaba on a piece of private ground. And I came in contact with Dean Hulse last year, and he was kind enough to let us put some baits on his for bear hunting for my daughter. The breakdown of how the hunt went is second night. Well, the first night, my daughter seen two black bears. Both of them she passed up. One was a maybe 200-pound boar, and the other was, well, we think it's closer to 300-pound sow. We call her Peggy. She has a foot missing, so she nicknamed her Peggy. And we do have her this year on camera again, same bait site, everything. Second night, I was sitting with my daughter. She shot a 250-pound boar with a gun that my grandfather gave me. 50-yard shot. Went about 50 yards and died, so she was really happy, you know.
My Lanta.
Come on.
Here he is. He smells foreign, like Bella.
All bears smell.
But here he is.
Come on, look at me. Are you happy?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Look at his paws.
Yep, pick them up.
Look at that.
Put your hand up by it. Good job, baby girl.
Thanks.
That was 2 days of almost
Yep.
8 to 9 hours each day.
We went out yesterday from 10 to night. We seen 2. Picked one out, and then today we came out at noon, and he came out while Dad was putting his boots on. Snuck in on us.
Congratulations. Old trusty 30-30.
This year it was Terry who drew the tag, and he decided to once again do most of the baiting himself. Long drives up from the UP from Cedar Springs had resulted in many bears hitting each one of his 3 baits. Trail cams had shown quite a bit of morning activity, so we decided to head out at daybreak to try a morning sit.
Well, we just had a solid 3 cubs, this year cubs, and we spotted them out here, and they pretty well came in, cleaned up the rest of the bait, whatever was left, and that's pretty cool. Hopefully either yet this morning or this evening we'll get a good board come in.
With the sow and cubs on the one bait, we decided to move to another area and set up a 4K stealth cam on the other side of the bait for the evening hunt. It worked to perfection, but all we came away with was more entertaining footage of cubs. Try as he might, this cub could not get the trail camera off the tree, much to the relief of this cameraman. It was very entertaining to watch the bears all night, but the bow hung on the hook until after dark. Just down the road, we heard that a monster bear was shot, and we decided to stop in and see it. Todd Breelage was the lucky hunter in more ways than one. He had married into a family that knows bears and built a business around baiting them. His father-in-law, Jacques, has a warehouse full of all sorts of bear goodies. From granola to cereal to gummy worms, he has it all. I guess it's no surprise that he knows just what the big bears like to eat.
It's been 13 years waiting for the tag, so as soon as we got her, waiting for him to come in, been coming in every night, and came in across the one barrel and towards the next one, and walked right in front of it. Good quartering away shot. Waited for the front leg to come forward and pulled the trigger.
So you guys have been seeing a lot of bears here, huh?
Seeing a good amount of them, yes.
This huge boar topped the scales at over 500 pounds. Now Todd has some bragging rights within his household. His wife Jackie holds the youth firearm state record from back in 1997. I ended up hunting for several days with Terry and put about 24 hours of stand time in. We saw a lot of bears, but were plagued with sows and cubs, but it was a great hunt nonetheless. Up north in the Keweenaw, things were different. Good friend Alex Knight had drawn a first season bear tag and baited himself in between his job and college. His dad Brian brought along the camera and captured his hunt on tape like an expert.
poke his toes a little first. Good job, bud. That's awesome. That is a good bear. Tell me the story.
Okay, so we got out here a little after 5 o'clock. We're sitting for 2 hours probably, right around 7:15. This guy came in, started moving around in the brush around our stand, and eventually came into the bait. Yeah, he came in the bait for a little bit. Took a little bit to get a decent shot at him, but he ended up turning for us and got a good shot on him. He ran just about 50 yards, so yeah, we're gonna get him taken care of, and we got about a mile hike to get him out of here, so lots of fun ahead.
Very cool.
It was a long carry out of the woods, but with the help of his buddies, they got his 300-pound bear out. Thanks to Terry for putting up with the curse of the camera for several days. Bear hunting in the UP is always a great way to kick off the fall big game hunting seasons.
All right, well, we are here today with Chris Turek, and we are going to talk air guns galore today. We're going to learn everything there is to learn about air guns, hopefully. Chris, just tell me, how did you kind of get into this kind of hunting and this kind of shooting?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up hunting and having my uncle and my dad teach me all about marksmanship. And growing up with shotguns and rifles, I really wanted to get into something that kind of pushed that concept of marksmanship forward, but that I would be able to use it for hunting.
Okay.
And so, we all grew up, playing with BB guns and rifles and air rifles, and had my dad, that's how he taught me how to shoot, was with a .22 Crossman, old 1986 air rifle. And so, I wanted to be able to do something, but not have to spend so much money on ammunition.
Yeah, so before we get into the nuts and bolts and how these things work and all that kind of stuff, they were legal for a little bit, then they were not legal, and now they are. Kind of walk me through where we're at and what calibers can be used for deer hunting here in the state.
Absolutely, yeah. So here in the state of Michigan, you use a 35 caliber and higher big bore air rifle to hunt deer with. Okay. And you can hunt with those during the regular firearm season. Okay. What's cool about that is you can actually use them throughout the entire state. So there is it's not north of a certain line. You can actually use them throughout the entire state. Okay. One of the criteria, though, is it has to be charged from an external source. Okay. So a lot of us, we remember the old pump up kind of air guns. So it actually has to be pumped with either something that looks like a bicycle pump, but most guys would use something like a scuba tank to pump them up with.
And how many shots can you get out of one of these? I mean, if you were going to take it into the woods, 2 shots, 3 shots, 10, what's the normal?
Yeah. So on the 357, which is the one that I typically use, you can get a good 6 to 10 shots off of a fill. And when I say a fill, these charge up to 3,000 PSI. Okay. So at 3,000 PSI down to 2,000 PSI is typically where you want to keep them to keep that accuracy. Okay. And so with this one, you get good maybe 6 to 10 shots.
So you're not lugging your scuba tank out.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And they have little ones too, right?
Yeah. They make little carbon fiber tanks that weigh like 3 pounds that you can put into a backpack and hook it up as well.
And so before we start shooting, is there advantages to using these, disadvantages? I know there's somewhere between a crossbow and a rifle. Why do guys even want to do this?
Exactly. I mean, one of the advantages is, yes, the gun may be a little bit more of an investment up front, but if you want to go out and shoot a lot with these, the ammunition is just so much less expensive. There's a lot of guys out there that actually cast their own rounds. Okay. And so you make up for the cost difference, obviously, in the ammunition. And so I personally choose to use something called the Aero Magnum Devastators, which are made by a company who they hand select every round to make sure it's perfectly balanced. Okay. So every shot is going to be dead spot on accurate. So as far as advantages go, I was doing it because the cool factor. I thought it was a really interesting sport to get into. I'm going to be archery hunting with a crossbow for the first time this year, which is something new for me. So I was trying to kind of get into something different than the typical shotgun hunting that I had been in the past.
And these things are, really what kind of drew us to you was that you sent us a video of you shooting a golf ball at 350 yards, right?
Right.
I mean, These things are really accurate.
Absolutely accurate and extremely powerful. That's kind of really what got me into it. I was dabbling in it, but once I got into the Airgun Depot Long Ranger contest, and I was able to hit that golf ball. That challenge was just so much fun. I was hooked, and I got my family involved, and it's been pretty fun.
The shrouds that are on, are these silencers on these guns, or what's because they're kind of a cool looking gun.
What you see there actually on the end is a shroud to help stiffen the barrel. It just helps with accuracy.
Okay.
But they do come in a suppressed model, which brings the decibels probably down to about the level of maybe the sound of like a door closing. So it's not completely silenced, but it's a lot quieter.
And these do not fall under the same categories as suppressors for my 270 or 243 or that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So these are actually recognized. These are not firearms. Okay. So the federal law and the state law sees these as non-firearms. So they actually don't fall into those rules.
Okay. Well, let's throw some lead down range here.
Awesome. So on this model, this is a single shot model. Other companies do make repeaters, but this one is a single shot model. So the breech opens just like that.
Okay.
And then you take your round, and this is a Aero Magnum 357, 128 grain hollow point.
Okay.
So you put it in there, and you just put it in there finger tight, and close the chamber. So on this, the safety features, the safety is automatically engaged whenever you do cock it. So that just cocked it and put the safety on at the same time.
Okay.
Yep. So.
And you already have air in it?
I do, but let's go ahead and top her off. So there's two different ways that guys like shooting these. If you're doing a lot of long range shooting or like a sustained target practicing, they do something called tethering. And by tethering, you just take your air source, you hook it onto your rifle, and you open up your scuba tank. And what that does is it keeps it at a constant pressure.
Okay.
So if you imagine or compare it to, let's say, black powder muzzle loading, this would be like putting the exact same amount of black powder into every single shot. Versus if I were to take this off, every shot is going to have a lesser and lesser amount of air pressure each shot. And so your point of impact is going to change a little bit.
Where do these fall in? There's rifles that we can typically use. There's crossbows. Is this in that gap somewhere? Kind of explain to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a really great question. I get that question a lot. So typically this rifle here, the 357, is shooting at about 250 to 300 foot-pounds of energy.
Okay.
So if you compare that to archery, the most powerful bow or crossbow out there is probably going to be about 80 to 110. So this is typically between 3 to 4 times more powerful than any archery equipment out there.
Okay, but it's not in the same range as a regular firearm.
No. If you're talking, let's say, like a 308 or a 30-06, I mean, those things are pushing 1,000 plus foot-pounds of energy per shot.
Okay. So 3 to 4 times the force of a crossbow.
Yep.
Typically.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. And how far would you shoot a deer?
Right. So you brought up before, yes, I have hit a golf ball at 350 yards, but I would definitely never take a shot at a deer at that range. Typically, I would only take a shot 100 yards and in. Both accuracy, consistency of your shot, and also that foot-pounds of energy by the time that round gets to the deer. You want to make sure you're carrying as much energy as possible. So 100 yards and in.
One of the best parts about this job is getting to sit down with specialists, whether that's air guns or how to control for walleye in the Detroit River or how to bait bear in the Upper Peninsula. So many good folks around the state of Michigan. What we're going to do now is sit down with one more and learn a little bit more about some of the products that Garmin has out this fall. Okay, well, we are here today with Scott Miller from Garmin, and I've been using a Garmin eTrex 30 now the last few years, and Scott was going to be in town, and we're kind of looking at some new products for the fall, different things that are out there that might help your time in the woods be a little bit more productive. This one is a 30. Scott, this is kind of your entry level, but before we even give the features, what does this do for a sportsman that maybe if they're not using it, they don't even know?
It's real simple. I mean, for the deer hunter, you can mark where you park your truck. Then you can walk in the woods, mark where your tree stand is. But when you want to come back to the truck, you can either go straight line from where you're at, or the units will lay down a breadcrumb trail, a track log of where you've walked, and you can just follow that back out. So if you have multiple tree stands, you just mark all the locations and it'll navigate you from tree stand to tree stand as you go through the woods. And it helps you when you get lost.
Well, and I think for the bird hunter, you can explore new areas, you can go to stuff that you've never been to before.
Exactly. I mean, some of our units you can put mapping in, so you can put a hunt view map in it and get landowner information, you can get satellite imagery, you can see where the creeks are, you can see where the fields are, you can see tree line, which makes your hunt a whole lot easier because you can kind of scout the area before you even get there. And then you can also, with free software from Garmin, we have our Basecamp software, you can then take all of this information and download it and save it in your computer. So if you ever lose this, when you buy the replacement, you just load everything into the new one and it's all there for you. So
well,
you don't lose
I think what I love it for is if I go to a new spot and I mark where the truck is and it's a good spot to bird hunt, I've got that marked forever.
Exactly.
Because you come back 2 years later, where was that spot at the, oh yeah.
And you find that little swampy pond, you can mark where you set up your blind and you can go back in 3 years later to that same spot and reset that blind again.
Okay.
So it makes it really simple.
Now, let's see another toy you got here. What else did you bring with you?
This is our Rhino 700. This is a Rhino radio. So this is a GMRS radio, but it also has a GPS in it.
Now, what does that radio mean? What is the?
It's General Mobile Radio Service.
Okay.
This is a 5-watt radio. So you've got in flat land probably about a 20-mile range on the radio.
Wow.
But what makes our radio different is because we have a GPS in it, we transmit GPS position on the radio frequency. So if you have 2 rhinos, you key the microphone, your friend on his rhino will see your position.
Really?
So if you have a big hunting party and everybody's got rhinos, you can literally push a polling button and it will send out and poll all the other radios and you'll see where all the other hunters are in your party.
But now if you went back to camp and were sleeping on the couch, they'd be able to see that as well.
Yes,
Okay.
which has happened, we admit it. There's things like that have happened.
And it's also, but it's regular
it's also
GPS.
a basic model GPS. This is brand new. It's a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. It has our little click stick on it.
Now, could you use that to talk to other, like if you have a different kind of radio?
Yeah, you can talk to other radios on the General Mobile service.
Okay.
You won't see the
Just do the
position and that,
location part,
but you can still communicate to them because there's
Wow.
tons of guys using radios to hunt now.
This next unit is really set up well for the bird hunter or the hound hunter. Okay, so Scott, what do we got now? This is kind of up my alley here.
This is a Garmin Alpha. This is a dog product. It is both a training collar and a trackable dog collar.
Okay.
So the dog has the collar on, you turn it on. This actually has a GPS in it, so you can see on the handheld where the dog is.
Okay.
You can also, because it's a training collar with studs, so you have corrections to the dog.
Okay.
What people forget about Alpha is this is a GPS too. So if you want to use it while you're deer hunting, all you gotta do is unscrew the radio antenna, put a plug on it, and this is a regular handheld GPS.
Okay.
But for the guy that's running hounds or you're bird hunting and you're trying to keep an eye on a pointer, this is a great, great tool.
Our last product was Garmin's new Action Cam.
Garmin makes action cameras, which a lot of people don't know. This is our brand new Verb 360 camera.
Okay.
So it's a little action camera. It has 280-degree lenses on it. So it films 180 degrees in the front, 180 degrees in the back. So it'll film a full circle around you.
Really?
So when you're playing the video back, you can actually scroll the video to look where it was behind you. You can, on an iPad, you can just tip the screen and see what's in front of you and alongside of you. It has 4 microphones in the camera, so the sound actually will come back from where it was recorded. So, you can put this on a tripod in a duck blind. You can mount it on the corner of a tree stand and film a hunt. But for somebody that's starting to film their hunts, this is a very cool little camera to play with.
Well, there is a never-ending supply of new toys for those of us that love the outdoors. Maybe some of these will be something you want to look at this fall.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online next time you get a chance. You can do it a couple of different ways on our website at michiganoutofdoorstv.com or on social media at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We're on social media every few days letting you know where we are and where we're headed next. And this time of year, with all the hunting and fishing seasons in full swing, we are all over the map. Make sure you check us out whenever you get a chance on social media. We've got a lot of fun headed your way this fall.
Well, that's right, Jenny. So much good stuff coming over the next several weeks. A lot of brand new things, and there's just so much happening around the great state of Michigan. Get out there and enjoy it. And hey, if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Metalloyd Firearms and Sports, developers of environmentally friendly firearm maintenance products for cleaning and protecting your firearms metal, as well as wood and leather components. On the web at metalloydfirearmsproducts.com. By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971, with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jaysportinggoods.com. By the Michigan Petroleum Association and the National Oil Heat Research Alliance, advocating the advantages of oil heat for home and environment through products like BioHeat Oil, which blends biodegradable materials into a renewable fuel source. Learn more at oilheatamerica.com. Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow